Good evening, all my friends out in the audience tonight. How are y'all doing tonight? Welcome to Cannabis Science Pub. I'm your hostess, Erika Winters. It's gorgeous outside. I really appreciate those of you who are inside today to get your education on. And those of you who are new to Cannabis Science Pub is a free educational series. It's presented by OG Analytical and Oregon's Constant Gardener. And our goal is to bridge the gap between the desire to know and the know. There's so much information every month, every week, every day that we glean from our work at OG and OCG, and we want to bring that information to you. And I'd also like to share with the audience that tonight is our 1-year anniversary of Cannabis Science Pub. June of last year marked the inauguration of this incredible cultural event. So thank you all. I see so many familiar faces who've been participating since last June. Thank you for your time and for your attention. So every Cannabis Science Pub starts with some trivia and prizes. We'll have a little bit of a legislative update from the Emerald Trade Alliance if they join us here later tonight. And then, of course, we have our educational presentations, which is the highlight of our evening. And then if we get through all of our presentations in time, we save the last hour for networking. So let's meet our producers. So OG Analytical. OG Analytical is a local cannabis testing lab that has been locally owned and operated since 2014. And they're currently working towards their Oral App accreditation and OLCC licensing. And they've repeatedly been awarded a national top-tier rating in cannabinoid potency testing. And they bring some incredible information to our community about cannabis safety. And Oregon's Constant Gardener, my home for the last 7 years. Again, I'm Erika Winters. I have the honor of doing the community outreach program for OCG. And I'm also their commercial sales rep, which is getting me out into the field these days. So I'm really excited to be a part of this. And we're an indoor-outdoor greenhouse garden retail supply store. We have locations in Springfield and Eugene. And we specialize in organic gardening. We really focus on integrated pest management, diagnosis, design. We're here for you. So let us know how we can help. I also want to take just a moment tonight to thank all the volunteers that have been so instrumental in putting this event on for the last year. And if I could go through the entire list, it would take the entire Science Pub. So I do want to give a shout out to the OG Analytical team who's been here at every single event, sponsoring the event, making this possible for all of us. And of course, my team at Oregon's Constant Gardener has been an incredible support. And there's a few people who have been here since day one and have religiously supported our event monthly. So I just want to give a few shout outs to a few individuals in the audience. The lovely ladies from Driftaway Farm have very generously donated some incredible bouquets to give a token of our gratitude to our volunteers. So first up, I'd like to thank Josh from Star Dog Botanicals. Yes, you. Big round of applause. He's been here since day one, filming these events for us and then posting them at healthorganics.com so we can all relive in the magic. Kendall, Katie, would you please present him with a bouquet? Thank you so much. I also want to give a shout out to the Emerald Trade Alliance, and I believe they'll be here a little bit later tonight for their instrumental support at giving us legislative updates every month on the rapidly changing culture around cannabis gardening. So many thanks to the Emerald Trade Alliance, a bouquet coming to them. And I'd also like to thank Charlene. Hi, Charlene. You have been here since day one, running around town, throwing up posters, doing the Facebook media blurb, hanging up banners, tearing it all down. We couldn't do it without you. Your dedication is so inspirational, and we just appreciate you so much. So please accept a bouquet as a token of our gratitude from the Driftaway Farm people. And a big thanks to the audience for coming out. Again, this event is for you, and we couldn't do it without you. And thanks to our volunteer support, we're able to put these events on production-wise, but there is a cost, and the only way we can keep this event free to the public is through the generous support of our incredible monthly sponsors. So this month, I want to give a big shout out to Cannabis LLC and Oregon's Herbal Remedies for their generous support in putting this event on this month. And I also received an anonymous sponsorship donation this month, and I can't tell you how tickled I was to receive it. And the donor is going by the name Humility. And I just thought the pest and pathogen topic theme was so perfect for this sponsorship because all of us have been there. You know, we've got all of our ducks in a row, we think everything's great, and then, oh my God, the spider mites break out. And having that humble attitude is so important. So I want to give a big thank you to Humility, and I want to share a little blurb that they wrote in gratitude for today. Thanks. Sponsored today by the virtue of humility, the window to truth. In the age of Facebook and Instagram, we can post our triumphs, but we intentionally crop out our failures, presenting to our peers and the outside world only the most vigorous, lush, green plants, leaving the nutrient-deficient plant literally out of the picture. Let us remember that humility lets us be open with our mistakes, to bear them to the world, to learn from them, instead of denying their existence. Be grounded in the simple fact that it doesn't matter how many pounds per light you grew or how many pats on the back you got. The true fulfillment is loving what you do and enjoying the process. Big round of applause for Humility. Hold that in your hearts. And without further ado, I'd love to dive into trivia tonight. We have a small group, so I'm hoping this is really interactive tonight, and I've got some really fun prizes donated by Oregon's Constant Gardener. I got to thank my entire staff at Constant Gardener who have been submitting the trivia questions for the last 3 months. That's taken a lot of pressure off me, so many thanks to the team at OCG. Thank you. All right, so this is kind of a tricky one. I'm hoping to stump you guys on the first one. How does the EPA define the word pesticide? And I'm looking for 2 or 3 qualifiers. I'm looking for hands, and I'll send Charlene around the audience with the microphone here. So how does the EPA define the word pesticide? Give me 2 or 3 qualifications.
The EPA actually is more inclusive of insects, pests, plant herbicides. I mean, herbicides is grouped into the pesticides as well, right? And the third one, I think, is fungicides. Is all a pesticide, is what the EPA considers?
Absolutely, you've named 3. So let me tell you what you've won. I could not resist tonight, you guys. This is Pests and Pathogens. I had to give away live bugs tonight. I couldn't resist it. So if you go to the Constant Gardener booth, you will win 1,500 ladybugs. I personally counted them out myself. If you are new to releasing ladybugs in your garden, please talk to our staff at Constant Gardener, and they'll go over the release instructions.
We used to sell them at Down to Earth, yeah.
Oh, fabulous,
yeah.
Fabulous. You're well-versed. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations, and please claim your prize. Let me go over the answer here just a little bit more in depth. So you named all of the categories I was looking for, 3 of the 4 that I was looking for. So the term pesticide, as defined in FIFRA Section 2U, means a substance or mixture of substances intended for preventing, destroying, repelling, or mitigating any pest, any substance or mixture of substances intended for use as a plant regulator, defoliant or desiccant, and any nitrogen stabilizer. So the herbicides, the fungicides, the pesticides, they're all under that umbrella. So thank you very much, and please claim your prize. Number 2. So based on this definition, can you give me 4 categories of pests? And the microphone's coming your way.
Affects profits, affects corporate profits. That's one of them, okay?
I like where you're going with that. Specifically, I'm looking for like kingdoms or categories of creatures.
Oh, insects, well, spiders are insects, aren't they? Okay, spiders, pest can be a plant, weeds.
Yes.
Weeds. The cannabis weed is a pest.
I got 2. You got 2 more for me?
Yeah. Rodents, for example, rats and stuff like that, and bigger animals, they kill them too.
Absolutely. So I've got insects, weeds, rodents.
And
was there another
spiders.
I'm looking for one more that's a fourth. Give you
One
another
more.
shot.
Homeless people.
I'm sorry, that's not the answer
by
I'm
the
looking
city of
for.
Eugene, yes. Yes, the police department.
Thank you for your contribution. I'll take another hand, and if you can name the three he named plus one. We've got a hand right here.
Fungus and spiders and mites and fungus, molds, pests, mites, spiders, insects.
What was the
larvae.
fourth one he mentioned? Fungus is a new one, and there was one more he mentioned, if you can name all four in a row.
Mold, pests, rodents, animals.
The hands, please. Yes, weeds. That's what I was looking for. Absolutely. Please claim your ladybugs and give them a happy home. All right, so 4 categories of pests. And typically, people connect pests with insects. And pests is actually a much broader category. So insects, weeds, pathogens, including fungi and bacteria, and rodents can be really terrible in the garden. Was mites given as the answer? I heard insects. Sure. I'm still going to give him his ladybugs. But thank you for the technicality. I really appreciate that because accuracy is what we're here for. So I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Name 2. This is going to stump you. I'm looking for Latin here. Name 2 beneficial insects that would help combat a spider mite infestation. And if you do know their common names and you can give me 2, I will take them. 2 beneficial insects that eat spider mites. Aphids won't help in this scenario. Predatory mites for sure. Do you have a common name or kind of a product name? All right, I appreciate you trying. I'm looking for 2.
Ladybugs and lacewings?
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you so much. You just won 1,500. All right. So I've got a huge list here, you guys, because there's so many beneficial insects out there, and learning their different applications is what I love to nerd out on. So there are products out on the market. Most insectaries carry something that's called triple threat. And it's a combination of 3 different spider mite predators, right? So mites that eat mites. And each of these 3 have a different preference for environment. So by mixing all 3, you cover your bases as far as high temperatures and higher humidities go. So the triple threat includes the Phytocilius persimilis, Neoscellus californicus, and Mesocellus longipes. So triple threat is a really great way to go. And we're going to talk a lot about biological treatments today. Spider mite destroyers. Has anybody seen or worked with these? They're incredible. They're like black ladybugs, and they will eat up to 50 spider mites a day. So they're way more aggressive than a ladybug, where if there's aphids present, they'll just turn their head at the spider mites. These guys are really aggressive. And then, of course, lacewings were mentioned. Pirate bugs do an incredible job. And, of course, less aggressively, ladybugs do play a role in spider mite prevention. Next up, which common cannabis pests have a dual life cycle, existing both on the plant's surface and in the soil? And I want to emphasize pest in this question. Let's see if we have someone who hasn't answered yet. I got a hand in the back.
Thrips.
You got it, absolutely. And this is where a lot of us go wrong, is we'll treat the soil dwelling stage of this pest, or we'll treat the foliage dwelling stage of this pest, but not both at the same time. So then that cycle just continues over and over again. So they undergo 5 different life cycles, actually. So they look very, very different as they move from generation to generation. So if you're familiar with one expression, you may not recognize what you're seeing. I'm going to show you guys some pictures here during my presentation of that. Yeah. No, they are different creatures. Yeah, and we're going to talk about root aphids tonight, unfortunately. Yeah. All right. This is debatable in our industry, and there's a lot of hot conversation about it. So I hope I don't offend anybody tonight, but I thought it was definitely worth touching on as we're moving into the outdoor season. Is powdery mildew systemic? Why or why not? I got a question in the middle, answer in the middle.
Yes and no.
Ooh, why yes, why no?
Because there's different types of powdery mildew. There's over 300 types of powdery mildew in the Pacific Northwest alone, but people don't know that. You know, where do you want to go with powdery mildew? It's horrible. It's a, you know, I could talk all day on it.
Sure. So can you give me okay. I'm going to hold that on the back burner because there is an answer that I think speaks specifically to the application concerns that a lot of my customers deal with. Does anybody else want to take a stab at it? I got a hand in the back.
So would it be? It can be systemic in the garden that you're in, like in the bigger system, like in the larger system. I think it can be systemic, but I think it's a surface phenomenon in most plants. But if it's in your garden, it's sort of systemic in a more biosystem sense.
Absolutely. That got me really, really close to what I was looking for. There's a biological reason for the answer I'm looking for that's very specific. And if I don't hear it, I would love to send you home with ladybugs because you're dancing around exactly what I'm looking for. Third try in the audience. Right in the middle here. Thanks for...
It goes up the stem, right?
One more time?
Instead of just grabbing onto the leaf. That's not it? Okay.
The mycelium works inside the leaf and the stem. It sends in a mycelium growth. It works its way in. It becomes part of the fluid in the plant.
And that tells us why it's systemic or why it's not systemic.
Why it is.
So it is true that it does insert a hostorium or hyphal tube into plant tissue. I'm going to default to my winner in the back here. Let me go over this with you guys, and we can talk about this. We have time. So, according to my research, no, PM is not systemic. And as our winner here in the back mentioned, it's an airborne spore that lands, inserts the hyphal tube, creates a mycelium or a colony that is external. However, the vascular and cellular pathways of plant cells are highly regulated. And the conidia, one of the reproductive structures of powdery mildew, are much too large to pass between plant cells. Powdery mildew will insert a hostorium or hyphae into external plant cells to feed, but it is the externally produced conidia that cause new colonies to spread. Now, there's a lot to be said for watering in Streptomyces or Bacillus subtilis because you are still increasing soil biodiversity. You're increasing the plant's innate resistance to these types of diseases. So, of course, there's a benefit to watering in your powdery mildew treatments, but as far as how this creature moves and reacts with a plant, it is not by definition systemically infecting this plant. Instead of systemic, let's just call it omnipresent because we're in the Willamette Valley. So thank you so much for your answer. Does anyone have any questions about this? It is a bit of a heated debate, at least on my retail floor. All right. Last question, and I am looking for Latin on this one again. So name 2 genera, bacteria, on the market that are known to suppress powdery mildew. And how do they work? Bonus, name 1 that is on the ODA approved list. So I'm looking for 2 genera, and if you can name one of them that's on the ODA guide list, I have an extra special prize for you. We've got a hand right here.
Thuringiensis one?
Bacillus thuringiensis?
Yeah.
So that works very well on pests, but not on mildews and molds. Yeah, but thank you for trying. It's okay to be wrong. There we go.
Bacillus subtilis and actinomyces.
What was the second?
Actinomyces.
And that might be a bit of a brand name. So can you say it one more time?
Streptomyces.
Streptomyces?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Okay, those are the 2 genus I'm looking for, absolutely. And let me change the slide here real quick to go over it. I got a ton of info. Elliot, you just won yourself some ladybugs. Thanks for playing. All right, so Bacillus subtilis, Bacillus pumilus, Megatherium, Streptomyces lidicus, Grosseus, and nigrescens were also mentioned as a genus. So these are all really effective when applied correctly for powdery mildew. And the way this works is beneficial microbes are competing non-beneficial microbes out of the picture. And they're also producing different enzymes and antibiotics that will actually destroy certain pathogens. So yes, the Bacillus subtilis is on the ODA approved list, as is Streptomyces ferruginous. Very well done. Can I tell you what you just won, Elliot? Anybody heard of abscisic acid, jasmonic acid, a product called Augmenta? Okay, so this is a foliar spray, and it does a bunch of stuff. It's organic acids, and they do claim to increase your terpene and trichome and cannabinoid production by about 6%. They are registered for use on cannabis specifically. And they also, these different organic acids have the ability to turn on SAR, S-A-R, the plant immune response. So this is a great way to protect your plants against pest or disease attack, and it'll also help make them a little sweeter. So let me know what you think about it, and that sample can be picked up at the OCG booth. Augmeta, A-U-G-M-E-T-A is the product name, and it's abscisic and jasmonic acids. Nice. Question? So I believe that it might outcompete it for resources because it loves sugar and cellulose. So it would move in, take over, and kick it out of the place. Sure. All right. Well, that concludes trivia for tonight.